cameras and the audio are on, so. Don't say anything outrageous.
Thank you.
Good.
I don't like it.
You can come around this way if you want to wave to your kids, Scott.
Are there really 3 decimal places in the tax amount from the school? Is that normal? Does it always do that? Do we always go to 3 decimal places?
Not to my recollection, no.
It's like we're buying gas or something. I'm just-
Maybe. Makes it look less.
The only problem I have with the 14th is on the end of section number 6. It says Chair Bugby says that Steve needs to cover up. Steve's the one that says we need to cover it up because he doesn't want to fix it.
Okay, I can take those back on sign if you'd like.
Well, I don't, if she just tweaks it,
Well, you can.
I can sign this, wouldn't you?
Cross it and
Yeah,
put your,
line it up for you.
put your,
So, we'll bring it back on one
Put a
day.
little line under it.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I'll sign it.
We're about ready, Mr. Buckley.
You think so?
We're close.
Less
Cool.
than a minute.
1 minute
6:59.
remaining in the period.
Do you guys need computer?
Thank you. I would like to see the PowerPoint.
All right.
It wasn't carried.
you solemnly swear.
All right. It's 7 o'clock in Lee, November 4th, 2025, and I turn the meeting over to Pat Barber.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have Karen Rossi, who's going to do the planning, zoning, and recreation commission. What else have you got in your plate? You doing EMC, you doing emergency management too?
Nope, I'm gonna let the chief do that.
All righty.
Anything else?
Good evening. So nothing in planning, zoning, and code enforcement went up at all. They didn't change anything. Does anybody want me to explain anything or address anything, or just go on to the rep? It's up to you. It's the same, the numbers are exactly the same, and all line items, total's the same.
Don't forget
Except
code
for
enforcement.
web
Yep,
salaries.
same with the code enforcement, same. We're assuming, hoping, fingers crossed, that the STEP program that the board adopted last year will still be funded this year, but we left the figures the same as this year.
That reflects the step.
Yeah, reflects the STEP. I'm sorry, what's that?
And Nicole.
And the COLA, and the building inspector got a raise last year. So it reflects all of that, but it doesn't reflect anything for the STEP for this, hopefully for this upcoming year, and the COLA. I understand the COLA hasn't been approved, I understand that completely. So that's the only thing that might change, hopefully, is salaries.
Does anyone have any questions on any of that? If not, we can look at the recreation commission.
Great, thank you. So Recreation Commission, the increase is $5,000, the request to increase is $5,000, and that is to help offset the cost of the exercise classes. The exercise classes do not 100% cover themselves. However, if you talk to anybody in the community, they love the fact that it's a nice class for the seniors, they get a lot out of it, it's affordable, and we have been paying the difference out of the recreation revolving fund. But when that fund was really built up, we had ORYA contributing to it as well as Maximum Velocity. And Maximum Velocity is no longer contributing to it because they're renting fields in Durham. Actually, I think they're using Durham's fields for free, which is neither here nor there. So instead of draining the recreation revolving fund to fund the exercise classes, we would like the operating budget to put some money towards the exercise classes for seniors. It's very well attended, but to keep it affordable, and was never the thought was never to have it 100% pay for itself, because we want to offer something. We offer nothing for our seniors. So it would be nice to offer something for our seniors, and $5,000 for this town to pay for our seniors is nothing, where we spend so much money on other things. So that's the increase. So it's $9,800 for our programs, and then $5,000 for the senior exercise class. The Recreation Commission has changed things around in what we're trying to offer more of a variety of classes, so we're trying some different things, and they seem to be fairly well attended. Pumpkin carving wasn't as well attended as we had hoped, but we still had about 20 kids throughout the night, which for the first time was actually really good. So that's that. As far as this financial planning tool, the Recreation Commission voted to take out refurbishment of the tennis court 100%. But what we would like is some type of building, permanent structure to be built at Little River Park. Several years ago, I came to the select board, a bunch of us were working with ORYA, and ORYA was gonna pay for half of it. And at that time, the board didn't want to have another building to take care of, which I understand, but it would be something that would be really useful at Little River Park, to have a building to house the rec things, the fair things. It would just make hosting events that much easier. So we would like the board, the select board or advisory budget committee, or somebody to consider putting some money away towards the potential of building a building at Little River Park for programs and things like that. For storage, it would be huge. Doesn't have to have a bathroom, or, I mean, it could have a bathroom, that'd be great, but just storage would be so much easier.
ORYA has expressed some interest.
Where did that money go that was for the tennis court? They took it out, but
No,
It's still in the fund.
it's still the fund.
it's still there,
The money's still
so
there.
Correct.
are we saying maybe some of that could be?
So currently, the rec commission is only in charge of programming, the current rec commission, which is fine. It's up to the select board decides everything else. So we'd like the select board to consider earmarking maybe some of that money for a building in the future. Hopefully near future, but we understand everybody wants something.
And we talked about, Andy, who was that gentleman that was here that we were talking?
Keith O'Brien?
Yeah,
Was that him? Okay.
yes, and ORYA does still have an interest in assisting with the building project. I think a couple of the keys, I know Karen was there, Tom Dronsfield was there,
Steve?
Steve and the representatives from ORYA when we met at the field, and storage was key, having a sink with running water, and potentially at least one flush toilet in the building if possible, that type of thing. Although the toilet was sort of questionable because the need for a leach field or septic system.
Right. The key thing about having something down at the park is now, when we have an event, we have to spend several hours hauling stuff from the Grange, cleaning it and hauling it back, which isn't really a big deal except for the volunteer pool is shrinking. We're all getting older, and it's a lot of work. It's hours to lug tables and chairs from the Grange to the park and then back. We have to borrow somebody's stock, cattle trailer, literally, and which is not that clean because it's a cattle trailer, and load everything in there, bring it down, bring it back. It's, it's a process. So if we had something we could store down there, it'd be so much easier.
Yeah, we were talking to the gentleman, Kevin, I think you said, they want to put in a little, not Little League, but the smaller field on the sheep field.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about that. We talked about having potable water that includes all kinds of stuff, and bathrooms, because we have to spend money to do the porta potties and stuff like that. But also we talked about a snack bar, seeing somebody can run it, and maybe some of the profit comes back.
Absolutely.
support the particular thing,
Has
but
anybody seen the one in Madbury? It's beautiful.
yes, well, we have to keep up with Madbury, right?
Let's do it.
So, but yeah, it's something we talked about, and they were interested. I don't think he committed ORY to doing something in terms of dollars wise, but
He didn't, I exchanged emails with he and I think Eric had given me a phone number and an email for the new director of ORYA too, so.
I mean, there's almost $40,000 in that fund right now. I don't know how much a building costs.
That's what I
I'm
was-
sure it's more
yeah.
than $40,000, but there is $40,000 sitting in it right
There you
now.
go.
Sorry, 39 lot and some odd change, but there's almost 40,000 in that. We're not making a ton of all of that. And it has to go to rec, right? That's land purchase, construction, upgrade of community rec facilities such as ball fields, parks, bleachers, community recreation facilities. So, something to think about. I don't know how much more we need, but.
Who's the agents to expend?
There isn't one.
Who is it?
There isn't one.
There isn't one?
So you'd have to put it on the warrant.
Scott's like, she's just gonna run with that tomorrow. It's kind of what I was thinking, Scott.
well, the thing is also,
Go for it.
and I know you guys do an excellent job in terms of when we do have the fair getting sponsors,
Mhm.
but you are very good about strong-arming people for cash, so.
So what we, for the fair, are you talking about the fair, or are you
I'm
talking about in
if
general?
we planned on doing some of these things we're talking about.
So my problem with sponsorship is Tom Dronsfield, the police chief, and I are the ones who do it. And I'm just not comfortable doing that. I have no, because of my position. Oh, here's your zoning violation, you've got 3 days to move your business. Oh, by the way, will you give me a donation? I just don't think that,
It just doesn't.
it's just not, I've been doing it for several years and I've been lucky for several years, but
Yeah.
I
get
just,
it.
one of these days, and
Well,
Tom's
we're-
the same way.
Wear your tiara, so the things.
And Tom's the same way, he's the police chief, so it's not really,
But you're good at it.
thank you, and I appreciate that, but I just,
Yeah.
one of these days it's not gonna be good, and I don't want,
No, that's fair.
thank
We
you.
don't want that.
Has the rec commission thought about putting up on the ball field, advertising signs? That's one of the things that they talked about before.
The rec commission did that many years ago, and if the board, the select board doesn't mind the look of that, the rec commission is fine with, I can't speak for the whole commission, I'm fine with that, something like that. Do you wanna take up some sponsorship spot? That's okay with me.
And sell them.
If the board is okay with banners hanging off of the ball field, personally, I think it looks trashy, but I'm not.
What do you really think, Karen?
Well,
All right,
football
how do you
fields
feel
have
about
them,
it?
like it's a normal thing.
Burn it.
There's some other things you can do with building projects like that. You can do name plaques on the building.
Mhm.
You can purchase a plaque to help support the building and get some sense of perpetuity out of it. You can do, I know, I've been involved in, we did a brick project where you get a brick engraved with your name or your family, and we were able to raise like $26,000 for it.
Yeah, and let's just use Tom Giulianusis as an example. He works with ORA, he's an exceptional builder. He has told me multiple times that he would be willing to donate time, and I'm sure a plaque would be all he would.
Well, it sounds like everybody's very interested in how much it would cost
Yeah.
and what ORA is willing to do. If someone wants to be in charge of that,
Worth looking into.
Yeah.
especially if it was able to be put on the warrant.
Karen, you know that property, where could you put a leach field?
We talked about putting it, the building itself, tuck it into the woods. And we put the leach field, it's not wet or anything, it should be just fine up in that area.
So you'd have to cut down some trees.
Yeah.
You're not too close to the boundary, it's boundary.
A little bit of fill.
Are you thinking on the left-hand side or the right? Yeah.
Next
right,
to
a little
the-
bit steep.
Parking lot that we
Yep,
just
like
did.
between the new lot and the roadway, like where we tuck you up in there, like behind the ORA shed that's up there now.
Okay.
There's
The
power
soils-
already there,
Soils will support that over there?
Yep.
Okay.
you should sort, yep, and there's the power's already right there.
Mhm.
The well's not that, I mean, it's there, but the water line is already brought to the building, to the pavilion.
Oh, it is?
Yep, there's
Water
water
line?
at the pavilion, at the end of the pavilion, the opposite end from the street. There's water up, it's up against the pavilion.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So the only thing we'd have to deal with is the treatment of the water to make it potable, because right now it isn't.
Yeah,
Then
there's,
it becomes a public water source, correct?
it would classify public water source, Little Park, yeah, it would.
We're
Yeah.
about halfway through getting all the requirements for public water source for the other wells, so.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, that would be 25, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I don't know what the board's thought is something you two want to pursue?
Sounds good to me.
Let's move forward, yes.
So
I'll
then
make
we
some
can
contact.
task Andy to find out a little bit more. Also, if we can get an idea in terms of how much a building, depends on what you want in it, I assume. But you want storage and.
What is the, shooting for the moon, what does the board want in it?
I mean,
Bathrooms?
bathroom, someplace to make snacks and storage, right?
Yep. Because you start high and you have to whittle down, you don't ever go up, so bathrooms, running water, small kitchen,
Snack bar, yeah.
similar to the Madbury facility.
Yep. Mhm. Yep.
I think we had looked at a floor plan of the Madbury facility when we first talked about it.
So maybe you can ask Eric over there how much it cost them to do that, because we want something similar. So,
Good template.
Thank you. And we have 39 and some change in the fund. Great.
is there anything else you want, Karen? 'Cause we're,
I agree.
We're good right now. Does anybody have any questions about anything?
I had someone asking about the senior exercise.
Yeah, they're
and
great.
Things for the seniors in our town and so forth.
So currently, that's the only exercise program that we offer, but classes, each month, we're doing something
That's what
different.
I was wondering, so where do I tell them to find?
Our,
Is it all,
e-crier has them.
it's in the e-crier?
Yep, so we have in November, we have the centerpiece class. In December, we have a cookie decorating class and a boxwood tree class. In January, we have, January or February, haven't picked the date yet, we have a cake or cupcake decorating class. Then we have a chunky knit blanket class in the opposite month. We don't have anything yet for March or April, but we're trying to get all sorts of different activities for everybody to be involved, not just sports for the kids. We have, the annual fishing derby and the egg
Yeah.
hunt,
Yeah.
but we're trying to add in,
So is there a place like we can go on our website and say senior activities or
so we
something,
can
like,
do
and we-
something like that.
can we? Because that would be great.
2 years ago, the rec commission sent out a, not quite a full-size piece of paper, of calendar of events. And it was like $1,000 and it had all years. Then it's one of those things that's hit or miss, people get in their mailbox, they throw it away, so we didn't have any like great feedback from it, so we haven't done it since, but we did it.
This is someone saying, we need more things for seniors in the town of Lee, and I'm like, actually, Karen Rossi has been doing that.
We try.
Exercise, I know there's something, but I didn't know where to
So those are
send them to.
on the website.
They're all on the website.
Yep.
They already are.
The most consolidated place right now is the e-crier, and I will certainly see.
Is
if we
it in there every, because I usually read the e-crier.
The thing with the e-crier, because it has to, is the newer stuff is in the front, and then the stuff that's like all the time is in the back, because you have to.
It's there all the time.
Yeah.
So it's down further, but whatever.
Yep, but it's been on the website forever.
And I can go on the website, and what is it under? Like senior programs? or Just
Recreational,
under the rec?
I'll
and it'll-
triple check.
And it'll show seniors.
I
Well,
can,
it's,
I just want to know where to send them.
I don't think it's senior I mean, it's not all senior.
It's not senior, you can do
You're
it,
welcome to everything.
yeah, it's open to all ages, but it's geared towards seniors. It's like chair yoga, strength and balance.
Right. But that's all there.
It's all there,
And
yeah,
we can, okay.
yeah.
So I can call it.
Are you speaking for yourself?
Well, a friend of mine, no, no, I did actually have someone ask me.
Yeah, and if anybody
A senior.
has some suggestions for
Absolutely.
seniors, we're like more than happy and willing, and we just,
To try new things.
to try, yeah, we just need to know, I mean, you've got 3 of us thinking of activities that, you know. Heck, we'd even send a bus to Foxwood, we don't care.
I think it's great, yeah.
It's whatever people wanna do.
And they can go to the ball games like you have?
Yeah, we're not gonna do the ball game
You're not
anymore.
gonna do it, okay.
it
It
doesn't,
didn't
No.
fly,
it didn't, we had like 10 people.
some event.
Yeah, we thought about the holiday events, and we were talking about doing this, you wanna do a ski afternoon to Gunstock.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we talked about that, you know, like a tubing event to Gunstock. That's not seniors, but that's, you know, older kids and winter activity.
You know, Karen, I'm having a hard time finding it on our website.
I'll
It might not
double
be
check.
there.
It's
So
pretty
that's what I
much,
was,
the e-crier is pretty much it right now.
Okay.
We can certainly do an activity page, and we could
that
also
would be great.
probably do a senior activity page and break it in half.
Actually, if we did an upcoming activities page, we could have like all town events on there.
Karen, can I ask you a question? In terms of
Yep.
this 5,000 extra you want, how many people does that?
There's consistently 20 to 25. In the dead heat of the summer, it drops off.
Yeah.
But last spring, there was like, actually, there was a few months, it was up to 30
And this is
participants.
for how many events?
It's for, there's 3 a week,
3 a week?
so 12 a month.
Okay. Thanks.
And it cost $10,468 last year.
The participants do pay too, they come to the town office and
They pay something.
should
Yeah,
swim the classes.
$25 a class.
Oh.
I mean, excuse me, $25 a month, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say,
Sorry.
wow, really?
Sorry.
You're making money now.
Sorry, $25 a month. And they, like, a group of them came in today and they just love it. I mean, they're, you know, which is great, because it's the first of the month you never pay.
It's like they get their monthly membership.
Yeah. And it's,
There
you
we
know,
go.
it's great for them, and it's nice to provide something for the seniors.
Well, Dawn Jeans always talks about it in Conservation Commission meetings.
She goes,
Yeah, so, okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Thank you, Karen.
Thank you all. Yeah. Good luck.
Now, who is it between you and, I figured you wanted to be last, he's like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, Karen got
Good
you
evening,
guys
Chris.
warmed up now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you
How's the
all.
main act?
thanks.
Chris Maroney from the McGregor.
Karen's always a hard act to follow. Every year.
Yeah.
So, hello, I think many of you have endured a version of this from,
Introduce, I don't,
Oh.
there's new people.
I'm sorry.
If you want.
Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves? Chris, and I,
yeah.
Chris and Chris.
So, my name is Chris Lumlin, I'm the Executive Director for McGregor Ambulance.
I'm Don Bliss, I'm the vice chair of the board, and a former resident of Lee, a former member of your police department, many, many years ago.
Pat Barber.
Tom Murdoch.
Scott Bugby.
Becca Hawthorne,
John LaCourse. Eric Johnson.
Amanda Fletcher.
Andy Roberts?
All right. Yeah, good to see you all. So, nice to meet some of you. Yeah, so I think many of you have heard this before, but we are the nonprofit 911 ambulance for the communities of Lee, Durham, Madbury, and the University of New Hampshire. We are a mixed paid volunteer service. We are, staffed primarily by volunteers, which always sounds scary to folks in this day and age, but it's worth saying that we hover right around 35,000 hours of volunteer time between all of our volunteers every year, and we've been very consistent in that. We had a big increase during COVID, where we're close to 40,000 hours, and now we've settled right back around about 35,000, which is where we've been for a number of years. Although the volunteers are really the backbone of our service, we do have paid paramedics 24/7. Many of you have heard me talk about this before. Our paramedics provide the highest level of care that you might get on an ambulance. And my go-to example with this is always that, if there's a cardiac arrest, I'm not a paramedic. I can do most of the things that they would do to restart your heart in your home, right? That's my level of training. If I'm successful and I get your heart going again, though, the medications that you need to keep the heart going, to keep that person from going back into cardiac arrest, only a paramedic can give. And so that's obviously a key part of, you know, what we do. One of the things that has really driven our town appropriation for a number, or our request to the communities for a number of years has been been paramedic pay rates, really. And what we've seen is a pretty dramatic increase in that for a number of years. Things have leveled off some, but what we found is for a while we were increasing the bottom of our paramedic pay scale quite a bit. And we now are ending up into a situation where the difference between brand new paramedics in the organization and the folks with 10, 15 years of experience is only a few dollars an hour. And so we're trying to kind of bump up that middle of the pay wage in a way to retain, you know, some of the more experienced folks within the organization. Some other things that we're seeing in terms of cost factors is some pretty dramatic increases in our capital and equipment costs and medical supply costs. So as a, for instance, what we just saw across the board, and you know, could debate whether it's tariffs or is it the, you know, supply chain companies trying to grab a little more money for themselves, and I'm not in a position to speak to that. But you know, all of our gloves just went up by 30%, and we shop now with 3 different vendors, and they all went up by 30%. So those are some of the things that, you know, and gloves is, you know, just an easy example to point to, right? So we're seeing those sorts of increases as well. Some other factors is that, you know, when we pick someone up on the ambulance, you know, we're obviously gonna take care of them and provide care, whether or not they have insurance or they have the ability to pay. One of the things that we're watching very closely is changes to federal policy around health insurance, and you know, whether you think those policy changes are good or bad. You know, the key thing that we're kind of focused on is essentially if less people end up having insurance for whatever reason, we're still going to take care of them. But it does mean that we're not going to get paid for those runs statistically, because usually the people who don't have insurance, they're not going to be the ones that pay us out of pocket realistically. And so that kind of impacts, you know, our bottom line. On a more positive note, one of the things that we have worked on for now a number of years has really been around payments from private insurance companies. And you know, over the last couple of years, I've actually spent a number of days up in Concord testifying in front of the New Hampshire legislature, really advocating for, you know, a plan that would require private insurance companies to pay 911 ambulance services such as ourselves, such as, you know, a Dover Fire or other services throughout the state, a fair amount, and that also doesn't leave the patient stuck with any portion of the bill. And one very good thing that I'm pleased to share is that, you know, one of the things that's come out of the efforts of certainly myself, but many, many others as well, has been that, you know, the state did pass a law earlier this year, Senate Bill 235. I may be getting that number wrong.
285.
285, yeah. It's been a little while because it passed a little while ago. That will basically set private insurance reimbursement at what we think is a fair level, but eliminate that piece of it where, you know, the patients were getting stuck with a piece of that bill. And we expect that that's going to be roughly a break-even proposition, because it's not going to apply to all insurance. If you are working down in Massachusetts, it's not going to apply to your insurance, for example, if that's where your insurance originates. But it'll help everyone across the board, all the patients. So I think that's a huge win for patients. It'll make our lives easier, and hopefully not result in a, you know, increase to the communities that we or other ambulance services cover. So that's just kind of a quick high-level overview of some of the things going on. Let me just speak briefly to how we arrive at the appropriation figure, and then I'll, you know, share the floor with Dawn and then see what questions you folks have. What we do ultimately is we take a look at what do we think the costs are gonna be to operate the organization for all 4 communities across the board. We do some annual fundraising, we have educational programs that bring in some money. But when we subtract out the revenue from those programs, we then, look at the patient billing aspect of things that I just spoke to. That's the biggest sum of our piece of it. The biggest sum of our income. What's left over is what we ask the communities for. And we've kept that, for a handful of years. People may recall there was a little bit of an increase, or a more significant increase a while ago, but, we've been trying to keep that fairly steady for the last several years. What we then do is we split up the appropriation amount across all the communities served based on call volume, and it's a 3-year average of calls. So if you look at 2022, for 2024, the town of Lee had 26% of our overall call volume within that time frame. That's where your appropriation amount is coming from, is 26% of that number. So that, I think, covers my stuff. Do you have anything?
I can talk a little bit about the facility issues. So one of the biggest challenges that we have right now is our facility.
Yep.
If you've been to the headquarters of McGregor, tucked in behind the Durham Fire Station, it's small, it's pretty dismal condition. It's not certainly a place that bodes well for having a large group of volunteers with covering shifts, sleeping overnight in a very cramped dorm space. It's very impactful on kind of their health and well-being. To say nothing about the fact that we can't house all of our vehicles, and those vehicles that are housed, the door clearance is very minute. So Chris does a lot of training with our younger drivers on how to get in and out of that facility. So we're looking at a long-term plan for how we might raise the funds to build a new facility. It's in the very, very early stages in terms of developing site needs, developing floor plan needs, and also we've done a feasibility study on fundraising and whether the 3 communities can support a capital campaign. And it would likely be an effort where we would be seeking private funds, entrepreneurial funds, and some sort of partnership between the 4 communities, UNH, Durham, Lee, Madbury. So that's really kind of where we're at with that now. Nothing specific to report to you. We're still looking at some options in terms of sites. We certainly want to be close to or on the UNH campus because of the 75 volunteers we have. The greater majority of students who certainly don't have the mobility to be able to far distant from that area. So we want to make sure we're close by there. It also impacts response time. So we want to make sure we're attentive to that as well, to the community. So that's pretty much where that is.
Erica did actually reach out. I don't know who else she talked with in the community, if she talked with the chief or not. I spent a couple of hours with her talking about the feasibility study. And I know she had a list of other folks,
Yes.
probably 6 months ago or so.
Yeah, we interviewed, through our consultant, interviewed a number of individuals and key players in all of the communities just to get their sense of that. So we have a pretty good idea of what it's going to take to do a capital campaign. So that's pretty much where that is. The other issue, as the chief well knows, we've been sitting in on the discussions about the Lee, Madbury, Barrington fire merger, just to make sure that EMS is represented there, and that if there's any issues that we can help with or address, that may affect our delivery of services, we're right there to help and be part of that discussion as well, because we certainly support any efforts to improve all aspects of public safety. So.
I thought this new facility idea had been going around for a few years now.
About 40 years.
Yeah.
40.
Well, I
It's been a
mean,
while.
we even talked about it in the past couple of years of a possible facility just outside of, UNH, and ideas that were going back and forth, and with all the mold issues and all those other things that were going on, and so, but now
We're actually have
You're
a plan to really move forward with it. It was really had, like you said, been discussion, lots of people
okay.
involved. There's a lot of moving parts because of all the different characters involved. Certainly UNH has its challenges right now, as Professor really knows well.
Sure know.
So, you know, we're optimistic that we can, in the next, personally, I'm optimistic the next 3 to 5 years we'll be able to.
Now you'll be able to move forward.
I think that space was initially, or originally cattle barn, or part of it anyway, was livestock.
Well, that's the other facility that we're using during
Right.
COVID.
Yeah.
So we're now in behind the heating plant,
No.
service building.
It was the former vacuum cleaner repair shop, actually, for the university. And if that sounds made up, it actually isn't, oddly enough.
The other building idea was really a UNH building, wasn't it? Other times when we've talked about it, wasn't it going to be you guys were gonna be getting part of a UNH building?
That's where we're.
That was kind of what I remembered.
Right.
Over at the barns or whatever,
And-
or the vacuum cleaner place.
And all options are certainly on the table. If with the UNH, of course, is mothballing a few buildings, that may open up some opportunities. If the town and the university suddenly magically decide that they want to build a new fire public safety facility, which I don't think is going to happen, because I remember being at the town meeting in 1976 or 77 when that got voted down for a facility at Lot B, and it never been resurrected. They've been investing a lot of money into the existing facility, so that's just my personal opinion, that I don't think it's gonna happen. So that's kind of what McGregor had been waiting on for a long time, for that to happen, and we finally decided that it's time to just, you know, take responsibility for our own future, so.
Well, we
Chris?
need a wealthy donor instead of a
There you go,
scoreboard.
Tom.
Is he
Instead of a
there?
scoreboard, we need a, you know,
Yeah.
McGregor ambulance facility.
Thank you.
Powerball Megabeams.
Yeah, well, mine's not gonna go very far, but.
Chris, one of the things we talked about last year with the EMT situation was the changes that some of the services that towns are providing and eliminating things like in Exeter. Did that help you? Has that helped you with the pool of people that are available? Because I know either last year or the year before, you said there just was nobody to hire.
So the hiring has improved generally, but I actually think that particular issue has kind of worked against us. And the reason I would say that is because what I can tell you is happening with a lot of the local towns is that when Exeter went away, or Exeter, you didn't mean to put my hand in your face, but when Exeter Fire went away,
It's at ALS.
Exeter ALS, thank you. A lot of the local towns are now adding their own paramedics, at least trying to do that during the daytime. Plastow Fire stood up their own service, but candidly, they're gonna be, the first year they're being basically funded by, my sense is the hospital and some wealthy donors. Going forward, it's gonna, start to follow those local communities, and guess what? They're a lot more expensive than Exeter Hospital was. And so some towns are trying to figure out how to do it on their own. New Market's another example that's grown their paramedic pool pretty substantially. They're not quite 24/7, but, and so what we're seeing is just, there's more opportunities for those paramedics.
So the hiring hasn't gotten any better.
It's gotten better since the worst of COVID, but
That's saying much.
not since Exeter.
How many medics do you have?
Hospital. Oh, boy, we have, don't quote me on this, I believe it's 6 full-time paramedics, and then we have another 5 or 6 part-time and per diem paramedics that kind of fill in when someone's on vacation, or, we try to spread things out between, so. We have 2 volunteers that I spoke with recently that are looking at paramedic school, so that's another, source, because of course, many of them go on to be doctors or PAs or nurses, but, there's a certain number that are interested in being, firefighters or police officers or, full-time, paramedics, so.
Do you try and roll a paramedic each time you go out, or do you look at the situation and?
Yeah, so the answer is no. We roll a paramedic really for 2 reasons. One is it can be based on the qualifications of the crew. I won't bore you with all the details, but basically if the volunteer crew is new enough, then there are times where we'll automatically roll a paramedic for that reason. The other reason though is that when you call 911 in New Hampshire, it goes to a state dispatch center. that helps classify the call and come up with what we call a call determinant essentially. And that's gonna determine what resources we send. And so, you know, for a more severe call, and, you know, we would roll a paramedic, and for, you know, the sprained ankle is one of my go-to
Not
examples.
for
We might not,
a lift assist and,
yeah.
no paramedic.
So,
You,
I have a question. So, with all the conversations you've just told us about, all this information, there's costs going up, but the amount you're asking for keeps going down. So is that because of call volume, or is there something else going on in there?
So we like you better.
Really? This
Are we
is-
having
people in the
less?
public can hear this, so you're gonna get some calls.
Oh, yeah.
It's based on your call volume, essentially. So
Really,
the
like-
overall, yep, if you look on kind of page, I think it's 3 of my letter,
Yep.
it kind of shows the math, but the overall increase to all the communities is just shy of 5% of it. It is an increase. It just so turned out, that it's not so much that your call volume has gone down, it's more that other communities have gone up more.
percentage basis.
Okay, yeah. One of the things that we're seeing, quite honestly, is UNH, when COVID occurred, really, their call volume contracted very, very dramatically. They did a really good job, you know, and credit where credit is due, right, of getting the students to behave, and that really drove down their call volume. That's also when we used to calculate these amounts based on a 1-year basis, and that's when we shifted to 3 years because it was gonna be a big hit to the communities. UNH, their enrollment is now falling, so I think over time, we're not gonna ever see a return to where it was, or not in the near future. But, you know, they're returning to, you know, a little bit more close to their baseline.
Thank you.
Any comments looking forward to next year? Any big surprises that you see?
We are, for my sake and for everyone's sake, we are trying to avoid big surprises, so, yeah. Yeah.
Some years when things went, we used to be quite a bit lower than these numbers.
No,
And when you jumped up there, you gave us almost a whole year's notice.
right.
So I was,
You know, we tried really hard when we started looking at our budget projections in springtime, early summer. If we know something bad is coming, we will tell you right away, so you can be anticipating that. But right now, we think it's pretty stable, unlike a number of services around the state that you might have read about. There's a couple of volunteer services that have gone out of business. Cheshire County had to stand up a county-based EMS system because the private service went out of business. The town of Franconia, which is about 1,000 population, is paying the town of Littleton $600,000 for ambulance standby service. So there's a lot of issues around the state of New Hampshire. We're hoping that we can keep this as stable as we can for you.
And one of, you know, I hope this is okay to say, but, you know, one of the things that McGregor benefits from, and frankly, I think I benefit from, is, you know, Dawn, in addition to being a former state fire marshal and having been on, at least briefly, the chair of the FEMA Advisory Council and nationally and all sorts of other good national stuff, does a fair amount of consulting throughout the state and, you know, goes to some of these trouble areas. And so, you know, I think that's beneficial because sometimes, you know, we've been able to identify pitfalls before they become bigger issues. So it's nice for me when things are starting to go sideways to have someone that I can call.
Team effort.
Yeah.
Team effort.
Resource.
You know, absolutely. So,
Well, even with the increase that Pat just alluded to a few years ago, I still think you guys provide a very good service for the price that you charge us.
yes,
There's no ifs, or buts.
yes,
So we appreciate that, so.
Thank you.
we do.
Thank you.
well, we'll continue to work hard to do that. I would say that is really due to the, you know, the volunteers that we have. So, you know.
Well, a little bit to you and you, a little bit.
I've got a question for you. What's the split between the Durham community and the University of New Hampshire with respect to calls?
Well, I can tell you in terms of percentages, on a 3-year basis, Durham is 47% and UNH is 19%.
I'm just
Of the
wondering.
overall,
Of the
of the
overall
total, yeah.
Yeah. Because like, being at the university, all the students are on skateboards now, and electric, and they fly around, wondering how many sore ankles and knee problems and.
I think every
Get in the
town
dirt.
has areas of frustration in terms of, call volume, right, or in our call volume. What I would say Durham's has often been is that if a UNH student is leaving their class and they're on a skateboard and they're traveling on a town of Durham road and they wreck that skateboard, that ends up being a Durham call.
A Durham
right?
call,
And so, and you can imagine that, there's been a lot of senior living that's gone online in Durham. So that's one factor, but, also they've really put a focus on, off-campus housing as well. And so that is also a factor. If there's a party off-campus in a private apartment or a frat house, right, that pays taxes to the town, that's gonna be a Durham call.
One more added thing, since we're talking about UNH, I assume you're aware of the activity that'll be probably going on in West Edge in the future,
Yes,
where that might be a spot for a nice building, put it plainly.
very much on our radar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to-
What are you referring to, John?
Well, there's a major interest in funding to build more of a research park
Oh,
on
yes.
the west
okay.
edge.
Yes.
And expandable areas, and they talked about having other types of units there as well.
One thing, I don't think it'll be a big surprise, but your question, and your question kind of, you asked about surprises. What I will say is that you have also a senior living facility in your community, and I think the chief will back me up to say that we have noticed that we are starting to go there again more often, and that's not at all a complaint, right? In some ways, more calls
Reality.
brings in more patient billing, helps us to keep your costs. But I think over time, that'll be a noticeable increase to Lee's call volume, right? So I don't think it'll be dramatic, but, yeah.
I know when they closed originally, you were saying that was gonna impact your call volume.
Right.
Well, I have to think that Riverwoods has done it.
Yeah.
Certainly. And they're looking at expanding again, so.
Any other questions for gentlemen this evening? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
They're ready for you, chief.
Yeah, you put it.
I'm gonna let John go.
No, John, no, Scott, it's you.
It's you, it's you.
You.
This is the figure.
Yes.
It's you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Chris, will we see you there tomorrow?
Yeah. Take care.
Thank you.
Oops, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chief.
My name's Scott Nemeth, Fire Chief. I can go over the fact sheet real quick with Rebecca out of the room. I know she knows most of this, but I like to cover this at the beginning of the presentation usually, just to go over the department where we're at. So for our staffing, I work Monday through Friday, full-time salary employee. I have a part-time assistant chief that also does our fire inspections, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. He also helps out with shift coverage if we need it. We have 4 full-time lieutenants at this point. They've all got their education and become lieutenants, which they're in charge of their own shifts. They work 24-hour shifts rotating. We have 16 part-time firefighter and EMTs that work 12 or 24s beside the full-timers. We have 3 on-call firefighters that live in town and they come in as needed. The great thing that I want to say about this department now, and with the support of the board and the town, we have been able to hire excellent people. I remember 5 years ago, we were struggling big time trying to hire anybody. We had a lot of unexperienced people coming through the door. And at this point, we're a department that I actually have to say no to people. We have quite a few people coming to me without us even posting positions. A lot of it, I think, is word of mouth. As you can see on the paperwork, we have a lot of out of 13 of the part-time firefighters, they work for larger departments such as Manchester, Concord, Rochester, Durham, Dover, Exeter, and we just hired somebody from Saugus Fire. This past month, we lost, or excuse me, 2 months ago, we lost one part-timer to Marblehead Fire down in Mass, which that's where he's from. And then we lost another firefighter to Epping Fire because there's a new chief over there. He used to work with them in Exeter. He got an officer's position, so he went over there. But people aren't leaving for the wrong reasons with us. We have the bunk rooms now that they have their individual bunk rooms. There's a lounge up here that's secured away from the public. I feel like the town and the select board have put a lot of money towards the firefighters, their wages, and really taking care of them. So we posted 2 months ago for a position. As part-timers leave, I always work this weird schedule out where I don't want to hire too many part-timers where we don't have any shifts for them, but I also don't want to have not enough part-timers, so we're having a hard time scheduling. So we put that out, and I think within the first day we had 8 applicants. We ended up hiring 3 that are coming from Berwick Fire, a full-time captain and a firefighter, and then the Saugus firefighter. So to replace the 2 that just left, I decided to hire 3. And I just do a breakdown of the full roster. And then the next page is just the calendar year calls for us for 2025. The day I looked today, we're at like 630 calls so far. I did this back in October. We're averaging about 2 calls a day. I'm projecting we'll have about 720 this year, which on the last page has the last 10 years, and that's going to be an increase of calls this year. We kind of have seen the last 10 years our call volume go up, down, up, down, up, down. I don't know the reason for that. I think COVID was some of it, but it's a 10-year span where you can see it go up and down. Last year we had 714 calls. The one thing I'll say with the department is people come here because of our calls. And I know I've, in the past, talked to this group about, I can't do anything about our call volume, I can't do anything about the type of calls we have. And Chris was just here talking about Durham. Durham has a lot of nursing homes now, so every time they go out on a call, it's mostly a medical aid at a nursing home. The calls that we've had lately, and I've been here for 26 years, the calls that we're having are kind of crazy. We had that trash truck fire a couple months ago. I've never dealt with anything like that, and I was calling friends to see what should I do, because that truck had no way to get the compressed trash out, and we had a lithium-ion battery fire in the center of that tractor trailer that we couldn't gain access to. We tried to cut holes in the side of it so we can get access in it, but it was compressed so much that we couldn't get at it. The only way to empty those trucks, there's a lift at Turnkey, which is the only one in New England, that picks the truck up and it'll actually drop out all the trash. And Turnkey wouldn't take it because it's on fire, but it's in our community. So I reached out to the STAR team. I was reaching out to other chiefs. We had mutual aid departments there, and we were trying to come up with every idea possible we could. The last couple of years, we've seen an increase in structure fires in houses. We had a car fire the other day. The car accidents that we've had have been kind of crazy.
Wait, so how did you get turned out?
How'd you get
How
the-
did you?
Don't leave it
You
hanging.
didn't just like put out the fire?
Yeah,
Big excavator.
Okay.
big excavator.
So we actually just tore the whole
Side-
trailer is
side
aluminum.
of
It's
it.
double wall aluminum.
Okay.
So we actually just tore the whole side of it apart and then dug it out. There was, we have a K12 saw that we use that can cut aluminum, and it was gumming up our saw, and we did make a little portal so we can get at it. And then there's like piercing nozzles where you can stab the side. We would have been there all day. We were already there all day as it was, and I was kind of at a point where we just gotta get at this and deal with it. So we called in an excavator, and he ripped the whole side of the truck apart and pulled everything out, and then we
And this
put
is
the
from a
fire out.
lithium.
What's that?
Or this was from a lithium battery?
Lithium-ion battery. And then last week, we had a cordless drill catch fire inside of a house from a battery as well.
Did
So-
you figure we're gonna see more of that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, why is that? Are these batteries getting older, or are
It's
they?
just the batteries themselves, we're starting to see it more because everything is using those batteries and people are disposing of them improperly. You're supposed to take them to the transfer station and put them with the set of batteries on the side. You're not supposed to put it in your actual trash, because if you compress that, it'll catch on fire. And Steve, 2 weeks ago, had a battery that was bulging inside the facility, and he brought it outside and they ended up setting it off to get it to go out. Me and Steve have been talking a lot about doing something where we can have a container to put these batteries in if they catch on fire, because some of the batteries could take days to put out. And we don't have enough water, so you just submerge the whole battery in it and just leave it for a week.
There are new state regulations that just, I think this year is the first year they're in effect for how you can dispose of them at the transfer station in New Hampshire.
I think we need like a PSA on this, if this is a
We've
thing.
had some,
Yeah, we've
some
put stuff
PSAs.
out.
I'm sure we have.
It's in the
can tell
e-crier.
about
It's right next to the senior
It's in the
activity.
e-crier at the bottom.
That's senior activity on the website.
Okay, I'll read all the way to the bottom this week, okay? Apologies.
Actually, I was quite impressed, got the fire alarm system in the house has a battery. And they said we have to recycle it, get rid of it, and they said Lee is one of the only places.
Yeah.
So I was quite impressed that the Lee transfer station has this facility to take care of all types of batteries.
Yep.
Now, I'm not talking car batteries, but other types of batteries.
We want the car batteries too, we make money from them.
You want those too?
Okay, cool.
Is there any other special place to put them? I just see there's that table and there's the
Table over
buckets.
there.
Yeah, there's the table right now. Me and Steve have been talking. I'm trying to get him to build almost like a concrete building
Yes.
outside.
That's what I was wondering.
Yes, the area will be contained.
Like a metal containers or whatever, I don't know what you.
I like concrete. Okay,
Just
sorry,
concrete
apologies for
containers.
interrupting. I need to know the end of the story.
We put it up.
I figured it wasn't still smoldering.
But I'll say, like, that's one of the calls where we can't say, no, I don't know how to do this. Like, we have to come up with something and put it out. So we got to the point where I'm like, this company's gonna be mad, we're gonna rip the whole side of this apart. And, because they were telling us, they were like, cut them however many holes you want, because they just repair it, they'll just weld it back on. And you could see this tractor trailer probably already had 5 or 6. So I'm like,
This had happened before.
With the excavator, they could, when they were done,
we
you
give them a
would.
big hole.
So is this a vehicle that was traveling through the town of Lee, or was it from our town?
Through the town of Lee. It's one of those MBI trucks, the
Okay.
trash trucks. It has the smiley face on the back.
Yeah.
You see them multiple times a day through our town, because they're all going to Turnkey, and they're out of Auburn. So they come down 101 to 125 to Rochester,
If Turnkey has the ability to take care of these, why wouldn't they help you?
because they won't extinguish it, and it's in our town, and I can't call Rochester Fire and be like, hey, we're sending a truck on fire over to you.
Don't we send stuff to Turnkey?
We do.
Yes, but
Yeah, but not a
that.
flaming
Not
truck.
fire.
Oh.
And the other problem was, at that point, we already put a couple thousand gallons of water in that truck.
Oh.
And we called the state troopers and we're like, hey, can he drive down the road? We just added all this weight. We know
And
he's,
they're like, no.
it's not legal, and it's like, who takes the liability? So we just dealt with it.
The turnkey thing actually picks
That's what I thought.
the trailer up like a trash can and dumps it into their facility, so.
They didn't want a fire burning,
They
they
So the next page, I just have all of our EMS calls for this current year. Motor vehicle accidents are about the same every year. We do have a high rate of falls and back problems in our community. And then the last page is just the last 10 years worth of incidents that we've had. So for the budget, I'm asking for $55,800 increase, which is 6%. One of the things that could make it go down, I didn't know if the fire department was doing the fire department step program, if we were all now within the town's budget. So the $20,000 for the full-time firefighters and the part-time firefighters of $5,000 is because of our step program. So I can take that out if we're all into the employee step program. The overtime budget, I know last year we went up 25,000. Within the last little over a year, we've had all 4 full-timers out for extended period. A birth, one was on a medical procedure. At the same time, we had somebody out with a broken finger that was out 8 weeks. And currently, we have a full-timer that's out with a broken foot, who's gonna be out for 8 weeks. So what I would like to do, and what we currently do is, we call it a 1-for-1. So if there's one lieutenant out, we always have a lieutenant working, so we always have an officer on shift. So that obviously takes up the overtime. I will say that I've never been in a position where I've had to actually understand overtime, because in years past, the full-timers that we had lived in town, and the overtime that they got realistically was when they came in for callback after hours, or they came in for training. Now we're in a position where we have 4 full-time firefighters that are on 24/7, so to cover them, I'm still trying to figure that out. With having 3 people out within the last 2.5 months, we're already maxed out on our overtime this year. I am looking at avenues to fix that within the budget, but also having the assistant chief work some shifts, I work some shifts, sometimes we have part-timers work those shifts. I understand that there's just not all this money out there for overtime, but I wanna have competent firefighters on shift where we have an officer on duty at all times. I think the department's got to that position where that's what I want to have expected, is that we have an officer on shift 24/7. So I would like to raise the overtime 25,000, because that's not even taking into account the vacation that they've already accrued and the sick time that they've had. And now the 2 new full-timers have been here for a while, so they've accrued enough vacation and sick time to use. Like everything, we've seen a lot of things break this year, so I'm asking for $2,000 more for equipment and maintenance repair. We have a radio contract with 2A that they come in, we pay an annual or a monthly fee, and then if they come in twice a year and go through our radios and make sure they're working correctly, that contract went up, so I'm asking for a $400 increase in that. Our Seacoast Chiefs dues have gone up, so I'm asking for a $1,000 increase in that. Diesel fuel, January, we'll be getting a new engine. So we're gonna have to train, there's gonna be a lot of miles put on the trucks, so I'm asking for $500 extra for that. The special events, we haven't really had money in that account, I'm asking for $900. The prime example is the excavator with that tractor trailer. We try and go after the insurance companies first, but a lot of our fires, the only way to put them out and make sure they're out is to bring in an excavator. So I don't wanna use somebody in town and have them come in at 2 o'clock in the morning and then never get paid. We have been fighting with an insurance company over a previous fire, so I'd like to have something in that account so we can help them out. What I did miss was, I spoke to UNH Dispatch today. They're asking for an increase of $800. We've had a 3-year contract with them, so it's a flat fee for 3 years. That ends this year. So they're just asking for $800 more. And then it'll be the same amount for the next 3 years. It'll be $10,490. So that's the fire department budget. UNH added it today, right? Andy?
I just added the 800 to the dispatch line.
To what was in there?
Right,
Yes.
it's showing at 10,490.
Yes. I didn't have that number until today, so it wasn't with my email or with that.
Now, the increases that the chief's talking about, is that in your budget in terms of the benefits amount?
Yes, that is in,
So you've covered what you put in there?
yes. Unless I fat fingered something or.
Okay. And in terms of what the chief is talking about in terms of STEP program,
Last year, we included the fire department
Yep.
with all the employees into the 2.5 step, but the chief had also put together a fairly complex fire-specific step program based on rank and years.
so either it goes in one place or it stays in his budget, so.
Yep.
I'd be happy to have everybody together.
Okay. So maybe you can work with the chiefs to,
Yep, I can give the alternative, I'll just assume the 2.5 and the board changes it, I'll set something up so we can adjust it.
okay.
But didn't you have extra things for like if they got extra qualifications, like wasn't there a little bit more dynamicness to your STEP program?
Yes, but it's only with their EMT. And then, well, we could look at it that way, because if they come in as a firefighter EMT and they get their A, then it's a 5% increase.
Okay,
If they become an officer, it's 10% increase.
right.
So if we want to look at keeping the STEP program for the fire department and just have it known that it's 5% for the EMT and 10% for an officer, but leave the COLA and the merit to what everybody else is getting.
To make sure we don't lose anything.
Yep.
Sounds like a lot of math.
Yeah, I went to Oyster River, so you're gonna have to help me.
So I'm confused, are we gonna go with the numbers that are in this budget, or is it?
I think you're probably gonna see either the same as the all-town employees or some hybrid, as Scott just determined, but breaking between people that are EMTs and people that are not.
But this budget that I have that's already all set up and we're not getting any more officers. Everybody that's coming in is experienced, they're 15, 20 years in their career, they're not gonna go for their medic or anything else. This fiscal year, I don't see that changing at all.
So the difference between the STEP programs isn't gonna impact this budget this year?
That's
Depending
up
on
to the
what
board.
the select board decides.
Okay.
Okay.
Is the select board going to decide before the committee has to make the recommendations?
We haven't talked about it yet, so. I can't tell you.
It's a secret.
I don't know if it's a secret, but
I can certainly get you the other number.
I just need to know
Plus-
which ones we're supposed to use for your budget for this year.
Yeah, and that's why in my salary, there's no increase, because I didn't know what the board was gonna do, but I wanted something in place for the staff.
I think if you can incorporate what he's got into the overall one, that would probably be best.
Okay.
So that would mean a tweakage of your numbers and a tweakage of your numbers.
Well, did you apply the step to the salaries that are currently showing? Like, because Karen said about something about not doing it, so can we make sure that all the salary numbers are in line with the step program that we approved?
Yes.
And then we can talk about an extra COLA on top of that.
And right now, the salary numbers in here are what people are actually being paid right now,
Okay, so
with
can
no
we
increase.
fix
With the
that?
exception of Scott's people, because you use the fire department step for your 315 calculations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So everybody else is what they're actually being paid right now.
Okay, so I feel like we need to update that for the step that we adopted last year.
And I had not done that because I wasn't sure if the board was going to continue that or not.
Does that mean that all of the salary numbers are gonna, in the whole budget are gonna change?
Yes.
Because none of them reflect any
Yeah.
sort of increase for this year,
Yeah.
except for the fire department.
So Andy will need to give us the updates
Yep.
with the chief's numbers as well, so we know what that number is.
And I can certainly, can send that out the next day or two, so you don't have to wait
Yeah.
until
Because it's gonna be the salary portion, but also the benefits portion is gonna change as well.
yes, particularly the retirement. The retirement percentage for fire and police is running right around 30%, so it makes a big deal.
Any news on the health insurance? From your,
I have 3 or 4 different proposals now, all of which make some reduction, but not a major reduction.
great.
So Chief, just to be sure I'm clear here, there are no new positions in this. This is just additions to overtime and the STEP program.
Yeah, so for the part-time wage line, even though we're hiring more part-timers, it doesn't reflect that. I look at how many shifts we do per week for the part-timers, and that's the amount that we have for that account.
Okay.
So we could have 15 part-timers or 25 part-timers, and that line will stay the same, because I
This is
know
based on usage.
the
hours.
Yeah. Do you have any volunteers left?
we have 3.
Wow.
The part-timers all get paid the same amount that you can do that?
No.
Okay,
I take the highest paid part-timers and look at that for the 7 days of the week, so I know that we'll always have enough to pay. But a lot of the part-timers now, because of the step, are fairly close. So it's not like one person's making $15 more an hour, but they work once a month type of thing. It's more consistent.
okay.
And I know, Chief, you've been helping the growth that we did, I don't remember how many years ago, you'll have to tell me in terms of when we switched from kind of mostly part-time on-call people to full-time. Madbury's feeling that pinch right at the moment because they don't know what they're gonna do. And so I think you've been helping them in terms of trying to help them work that particular thing out, because I think at least some of them, Tom's select board, are kind of like, ooh, my God, this is gonna cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, but that's a pain that we went through years ago. Now they're going through it as well, and it's like, ew.
And I think, you know, when I took over as chief 11 years ago, we've had this conversation about hiring more full-timers and more part-timers to cover the shifts, and we looked at incentive pay for nighttime coverage and stipends and all this other stuff, and we went through all the motions and we got to where we are now because we worked through it. And I owe a lot to the staff here because they always trusted me that I told them the end goal was for the 24/7. And it took some time, but with support of the board and the town, we were able to get that. And I think Madbury's like, oh no, we need it now. We didn't do it overnight. I mean, that took many years to get to that point. The funny thing, I was looking for something in one of the town reports, and in 1973, I found a report that said the fire chief was looking to put on a person Monday through Friday in 1973. So this has always been a problem and an issue.
Is that the same town report that had the Leaf Fireman's song in it?
I don't know. I didn't know.
Leaf Fireman's
There's a
song.
Leaf Fireman's song that's
You
in
gotta
the
find that.
1970s.
I don't remember if you remember, the first fire engine that the town had, I don't remember, he's out on Turtle Pond Road, that's where he lived, but he actually bought the fire engine. And there was some angst between him and other people, and he says, well, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna take my fire engine with me. So we didn't have a fire engine because it was probably, I don't know, it's an interesting story. But yeah, that was years ago, but
Yeah, we had a fire department in the 40s, but the 50s, the town
yeah,
took it over
yeah,
and bought that equipment.
yeah.
Can we have a brief discussion on the joint, on the project to see if things will work together for the community? The different working together?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, chief can do that.
Can you do that?
Sure.
Tell us where that's.
Are you talking about the Barrington?
Yeah, the Barrington
Yeah.
League.
There's a
What
meeting
does that look
scheduled
like?
on November
Yeah.
10th.
I'll give you a quick rundown.
Okay.
Barrington, Lee, and Madbury have been in discussion. I sat in on their OR boards for a fire chief in Barrington. None of the candidates worked out, so Barrington decided to do an interim chief in-house with one of their captains. Because I sat on that OR board, it kind of opened up the door for all of the communities to talk a little bit more. I mean, I talked to all the fire chiefs, but not the town administrator in Barrington. We sat down and spoke about coming together and just bouncing some of these ideas off of everybody, and we had a meeting with the 3 select boards. They allowed us to become a work group to work together, so every other Wednesday night, we're meeting in Barrington. We've made some really good progress. We have shared file work documents that we've been working together with, and a lot of it's just compiling data to figure out what we have for equipment, what we have for apparatus, what we have for staffing, because we're all in different places right now. Madbury's all volunteer. Barrington has part-timers and full-timers, but they do have a big call department as well. They run an ambulance, we don't, we have McGregor. So there's all these different dynamics, and we've been talking about if there is any avenue of savings and working together, whereas if we have a part-timer here that's fully qualified and they can't get any shifts in Lee, but Barrington has some open shifts, they can go to Barrington and work up there. There's a lot of different dynamics. A potential goal is to do the regionalization, we're calling it, with these 3 towns. In my vision, and I'll say this at all the meetings, this ain't gonna happen for another 3 to 5 years, at least. And what I keep harping on is, within the fire service, the 3 chiefs can sit down and we can make our departments better by what we're allowed to do as fire chiefs. One of the big things we're looking at is doing mapping of all the response times. There's places in Barrington up, like Meadowbrook Drive, Route 4, that we can get to before Barrington Fire. I don't think anybody cares, like you said, what color the fire truck is or what color the ambulance is, just get to my house as fast as you can. And there's codes behind that. There's NFPA 1710 that says you need a 4-person engine to show up at your house within 4 minutes of you calling 911. And there's some parts of towns we can do it, but we only have 2 people on shift. So we're looking at this map and going, okay, well, maybe we could do automatic mutual aid. So if there's main corridors in Madbury or Barrington and Lee, and another department can get there faster, well, we're gonna send them, when you call 911, dispatch will know, I'm gonna call Barrington and Lee, but Lee's gonna get there first. But the call's in Barrington. So we're just working together. I've shared all of our SOGs with them, we have pre-plans on all the buildings in town, so we know where all the locations are. I've shared that with them. So we're getting there. I think the best step is all the short-term goals that we have. We as fire chiefs can work together and accomplish that, which I think is gonna make everybody safer. We're talking about Madbury having a hard time with the call members, but if we're going to 155 in Madbury, we'll get there before their volunteers go from their house to the station to get the truck. But that just helps them because now we have qualified lieutenants or a chief in their community helping out their firefighters. So that's what I'm looking at it is we can train together. We're talking about the small call members that we have. Well, if we take Barrington's call members, Lee's call members, and Madbury's and they train together, and if there's a call in any community, all the volunteers can come. I mean, that's just gonna benefit us, even though we have 3. If Madbury's whole department's made up of volunteers, maybe we'll get 5 if we have a structure fire in Lee, and they can just come to our town. And so I think there's a lot of good benefits of it. The fire chiefs can handle the fire department stuff, but a lot of it's politics, and we all understand Oyster River School District. How do you make it fair budgeting wise? That's my big push is you have to, Barrington's bigger than Lee and Madbury combined. But you have to make it fair that everybody has the same vote, so nobody can outvote the other person, and that's gonna be the biggest difficulty. But we have a meeting tomorrow night to kind of review some stuff. I did a strategic plan for all of this. And then we have a meeting on Monday night, November 10th, here at 6 o'clock with all the communities. And the fire chiefs are gonna kind of give a presentation as where we're at, and does the board wants to move forward looking at the long-term goals. But in my eyes, nothing's gonna happen right away. So I know there's been a lot of confusion as to, there's been articles and people are saying we're just gonna go do this. Well, we're not. There's RSAs you have to vote on and the communities have to figure this out, but we're just providing information.
And kudos to the chief, because all the chiefs have been working very collegially. There's no, at least from the outside, there's no like egos coming to the meeting. They're all trying to help each other, so I appreciate that. So, but yeah, it's a good group, and we also have citizen representatives that come to give their perspective as well. So it's, I enjoy going there because I learn an awful lot. Also, McGregor goes, Chris Lemming attends the meetings. And also, we have the
dispatch
lady from the dispatch center. So they're all working together. There's no like, oh yeah, we don't want to do this because that's our stuff. Like the chief said, he's been sharing stuff that he does here, and some of the stuff Barrington didn't even have that you provided. So it's a good group. So hopefully we can do something.
Is it an open meeting that?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a public meeting.
And we post all of our minutes on our town's website, so
Yep.
it takes about a week or 2 to get the minutes approved to then put on the website. But
There is a special link on the website.
yeah, if you go to the fire department page, on the right it says Fire Collaboration Working Group, and that's all the minutes that you can read up.
When was the next one that you said?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is the working group. November 10th, Monday here is the
6
big
o'clock.
one where all Madbury, Barrington, and Lee boards will be there. All the representatives will be there, the fire chiefs. So we're gonna do like a quick PowerPoint and explain where we're at.
Yep.
I mean, I have a year and 7 months left before I retire. And then Barrington's looking for a new chief.
Oh, jeez.
And Madbury's chief has been doing it for a really long time, so he's looking to retire. And I think, I'm very proud of where our department is, and I don't want some random person to come in here and ruin it. So to work with these other communities for the betterment of all 3 communities, I think that's really helped me. And I think with the group that we've always had, fire chiefs don't fight. Like, we just work together. So it's been really easy.
And at least, and I know this is gonna sound weird, but my biggest concern is what can we do to help Madbury? Because Madbury is in a very tight position. They're having issues in terms of police chief is looking to leave, retire, Joe McGann. Fire chief He's been trying to get out of there, I don't know how many years, and Barrington's having a hard time finding a qualified chief. But really, my heart goes out to the Madbury people, because one, if you have a fire there, how long is it gonna take them to get there? And the same thing with police. Steve Bullock was telling me the response time to Madbury for police, sometimes they'll say, oh, we'll get there tomorrow. Not for like, you know, if you've got like something
Yeah.
happening, but if it's like, you know, something really bad, they'll get there. But sometimes they call up and say, okay, we'll get there tomorrow. But
Tomorrow.
yeah, so
To report of something.
yeah,
stolen or
because,
whatever.
yeah, so I just feel bad for them. And I know, you know, I'm not supposed to be non-lead focused, but it's a community thing and it's hard.
It is.
So,
But for us, it's a fire service thing, and we listen to everybody on the radio, so if Madbury gets toned out, they know that Lee, Madbury, and Durham, and Barrington are all listening, so we can help them out if they need. And we're on the road doing driver training,
Yeah.
and we kind of head over towards Madbury and wait to get called. We don't
That's
self-dispatch.
what you helped them out.
Yeah, we don't self-dispatch, but if they have something, we'll get on the road and start heading that way and be like, hey, do you want us to go? Yep. And then
I
we'll
know
help
there've
them.
been cases, and I'm sure this is just the normal course of things, where you guys have gotten there before whatever town it is.
Yes, we go to Nottingham a lot, we're the first ones there for a lot on this side of town. They have a great department, it's just we're closer.
Yeah, that's,
Same thing with Barrington and Route 4, we've had a couple bad car accidents up Route 4 and we're there with 2 trucks and handling it as they're pulling out. I mean, we had the bad one on 125 a little while ago, and myself and their ambulance pulled up together, and our engine was right behind me and we started going to work, so, before they had an engine there. And it's just, but there's, nobody cares about what color the truck is. Their chief shows up and I had command, he doesn't take it from me. I'll give it to him if you want, like, we don't care. We just wanna deal with the call and get home, so it's been great.
That report that we voted on providing some money for, that's what I think is a short-term goal that can work. So that those mapping things will help us. So if there's something in one of those particular places, automatically dispatch to whatever group is there closest. So it's something that the dispatch people will have, so they will know, okay, it's this particular address, oh, they'll tone out both, or whoever's closest to get there, and I think that's important. And you quoted me when I told the group, I says, I don't give a crap, you know, what it says on the side of the truck. If I'm having a particular issue, I want them as fast as possible to get to that particular place, so, but yeah. I appreciate all the efforts that you've done, Chief, you've done a very nice job with that, so.
nice explanation too, thank you. Do we have the new truck yet?
It should be here in January, 120 days from the end of September.
This isn't directly related to your budget, but do you have any comments on, I know you sat down with John about additions to your equipment wish list and for the fire, for the cisterns. Do you have any comments you need to make about any of those things?
No, I think we're in a good place around. Me and John sat down and talked about everything.
Okay.
I think it's all updated.
Does anybody else have any questions for Scott?
I have one.
Just call me tomorrow. The only other thing I want to go over is the EOC budget. It's
Okay.
going to stay the same. This year, we updated the hazardous mitigation plan. It was approved by FEMA June 13th. Or, sorry, it was last year. So that's a grant-funded match program that we do. A lot of the town employees sit in on these meetings, and we just revise what we've already done in the past, so.
For the new people, can you tell us who the director and the assistant is?
For
EOC?
myself as the director,
Yep.
and Karen Rossi is my assistant. If you would like to give her a pay increase from the $600 to $750, I'm just saying, she does a lot for this town.
Hey, I bought her a tiara, come on.
And when we have things like, when we have storms and we open the public safety building for a warming center or something, is that under the EOC?
Yeah, so since I'm in the building, me, Tommy, Karen talk a lot, Andy, we, you know, if we're gonna have the warm days in the summer, we'll talk and be like, hey, let's open it up. We're here 24/7 now, so our staff can open up the side doors, make sure the building's safe. 9 o'clock, if there's nobody in, lock the doors, so we don't have people just randomly coming into the building, but it's worked out fairly well. Of course, we have limited staff, so it's not like we can cook meals and stuff, but it depends on the emergency. And there's been meals that we have cooked in the past, and we usually set some water out for everybody. But I open those, and then I actually have a website through the state, so I can notify them if we open up our warming shelter or cooling shelter. It's a whole web EOC program that I have on the computer. So they're updated when they open up the state EOC, so they're aware of what's going on as well.
Can I ask you a question? I know the engine, the fire truck that we just bought was supposed to replace 2 pieces of equipment. So are we getting, because the one has got the rusted frame, but the rescue truck, are you getting rid of that still, or are you gonna keep it? What's the plan?
Yeah, so, yes, both. The biggest thing with that is Joe Lombardo got that on a grant through FEMA.
Okay.
We cannot just sell it or get rid of it or whatever. The town has to get approval from FEMA. Seacoast Chiefs just went through this because we had the air van for a while and then the air trailers, and we actually, the Seacoast Chiefs who owned that, gave it to another hazmat team in not the Seacoast, southern area of New Hampshire. They went through a lot of paperwork with FEMA. I'm trying to get a hold of somebody in FEMA
Good luck with that.
and can't. I've reached out to the state Homeland Security to see if they have anybody, so that's kind of where we're at. The truck's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, so
So you'll just
it's
continue
sitting
to
there.
use it until,
We'll continue to use it until I can get a hold of FEMA, and then we'll come up with the best thing. If we sell it, I forget if it's how many years or the price of it, FEMA might get some money back, but then the town can actually get some money as well. It's not 50-50, I think the town actually might make out pretty well. FEMA doesn't take everything back, but
Yeah.
that's where I'm at with that. I'm trying to get a hold of somebody.
because the new engine will take the place of the rescue truck,
Yeah.
correct? In terms of
We
its.
couldn't purchase a rescue pumper as a demo. They're just not making those as a demo. When we went down to look at it, the current engine one that we run First Do for Everything now, we brought the set of plans and looked over the compartment sizes and the space, and it's huge.
Okay.
With the short staffing that we do have, we decided to rip out 2 seats in the back. So if you're sitting in the back side of the truck, there's 2 seats that are close, that are kind of up high. They're forward facing out the front window. We're removing those and building a compartment inside, as well as a medical compartment in the inside, which we do on all our trucks. So we're just giving ourselves more space.
Okay.
So we put like the water rescue suits and ropes inside that we don't use all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What about the truck with the frame that's broken, or is that the same one?
What's
That's
happening
the
with that?
movement truck?
That's a different one. I gotta
Okay.
figure that out. It's just, I don't know if we just bring it to a scrapyard, or I'm gonna talk to Steve, maybe we could put it on the state bid list
See how
or
many-
something.
Hardy Metals will give for it.
And the issue is, we can't repair the rusting,
No,
but an individual could? Or,
it's not a fire truck anymore. And a lot of farmers buy our stuff. I
yeah,
mean, our old utility's still on the road.
yeah.
Somebody bought it and it's personally owned, so they can do whatever they want with it, but.
Okay, thank you, chief.
Thank you. See you tomorrow night.
Thanks.
I had a couple of things I wanted to mention while we were all here. Earlier this week, I sent out an email to everybody with a schedule that I asked John Tappan to prepare, that was just a quick view of what the FTP additions were going to be to the trust funds based on his updated numbers. And then subsequently, if you, I don't know how many of you had a chance to look at it, at the time the library was looking for $290,000. And subsequently, they went back and looked at their funding sources, and now they've got that number down to 24,000.
I'm sorry, the library said they wanted $290,000?
Because of the way they were going to pay for the
vestibule?
vestibule, they were gonna take it all out of these, and it would have required that the addition to the trust fund for this year would have been $290,000. They're gonna use money from other sources, so the addition now is $24,202. So, John, we're not gonna do a whole presentation, right? We're just,
Okay,
okay, we'll keep it like 10 minutes.
okay, I can just read it to you then.
Okay.
Here's what the changes are.
We don't have anything for accrued benefits yet.
Um,
Is that true?
So, what I have here, if we were to look at it, is revisional 8, review and update by Select Board and ABC. And the changes have been, I have reduced the expected interest rate to, from 3.9 to 3.8. We have some new funding sources, codes. Library has a grant, so we have a code for grant, and we have a code for other, which includes annual budget, warrant article appropriations that don't come from a fund, or library savings accounts. Accrued benefits, no change. Cemetery fence, no change. Fire equipment wants to keep the radio infrastructure that was previously approved 2 years ago. That was approved for $80,000. That did not work out. They then went and got a quote for putting in a repeater and tower and generator here at the public safety complex. And that came in at $233,000, so they still have that in the list. I mean, I can put the FPT up, but if you want me to just read this quickly.
Yeah, just quick, because we're,
Um,
this group isn't gonna pass judgment on these numbers. We're just gonna use them, and the select board's gonna pass judgment on them.
Engine 2 was scheduled for fiscal year 2027 at an expected cost of $1.2 million. You just heard a replacement is being purchased for $827,000. Highway equipment, there was no significant change. Land acquisition, no change yet. There may be something coming, but in any case, additional funds will not be needed. Library Capital Reserve Fund, no change. Lee Library Building Capital Reserve Fund, they put in library accessibility improvements. At first, this was a single line item scheduled over this year and next year, and the most recent update is it is now 8 line items, 3 of them this year and 2 of them next year. It's a total of $275,000. $130,000 will come from the Library Foundation. $68,000 will come from the Capital Reserve Fund, $38,000 from the library savings accounts, $20,000 is coming from the grant that they've received, and $20,000 out of that $275,000 they decided not to fund. They put in for outdoor programming space. When the first summary went out to you, that was $75,000. It's now been changed to $50,000. And it's been moved out to fiscal year 2029. They have $35,000 for energy improvements in 2030. Both of those are coming from the fund. There was previously a parking lot improvements at $20,000. They want the town to pay that for that now. So that's been moved to town buildings. And in town buildings, there's well over $3 million in town buildings that's just not funded. Including a few $100,000 in site work at the town center, so part of that is just that $20,000 for library expansion. And the library roof replacement, which was listed to come from the library fund, is now listed under town buildings, but it's in 2054, so there's nothing being saved for it so far out. Fire ponds and cisterns, the only change was James Farm Fire Pond repair. Was approved by the select board, estimated at $10,000, so that was added for this year. Revaluation, no change. Recreation, tennis court refurbishment was removed, and you just heard tonight, they were asking about a building, so I just wrote that in as a line item with no other information. And also, select board member previously asked about the net pyramid. That's part of the playground equipment. And so I have that listed again with no information about it. I had thought that that was fairly expensive, so I just took a few minutes and looked them up online. I didn't pay any great attention to it, but I found 2 of them. One of them was on sale for $12,000, and the other one was not on sale, and it was $28,000. That was a complete unit. We just need the cables. Yeah. But it would be thousands of dollars. those are not just ropes, those are steel cables with fiber on the outside, and they wear so that the fiber is, in many places, is worn away. And so now the steel cable is what's there, and of course, that's much harder and slipperier. The roads and bridges, there's been no change. Solar, there's been no change. The deposits that have been made the past 2 years were $35,000 a year. The Energy Commission would like that to be the almost $39,000 that the FBT calculates, because that's needed in order to provide the 10% margin that was recommended by Revision Energy representative. With the $35,000 per year, you would be able to meet the minimum contract price for buying out the solar array at the transfer station, but you'd only have a 4.5% margin on top of the minimum price. Although that minimum price is what's in the contract, fair market value for those things has been going down because they cost less to put in each year. So the minimum price may actually be the price. Town buildings, town hall. Just today, this morning, added replacement for 2 boilers at this building. The educated guess from a public works director was $60,000 total. And it's been put in for 12 years from now, but he's really not sure when it's going to be needed. It actually doesn't matter much what the schedule is, because it's expenses significantly further out that are really controlling. Added the library roof replacement, but that's in 2054, so that's beyond the length, beyond the 20 years of the program. There's still town office building, town hall rehab, town center site work, public safety complex, fire suppression system. All of those are still listed as not being funded. And transfer station equipment, the last one, open top containers are in better shape than expected, so 3 of them were moved from 2028 out to 2035. But Bobcat number 2 is damaged and welded, and that's been moved back in from 2029 to 2027. And that caused an increase. Last year, as the budget was being prepared, the planned appropriation to transfer station equipment was $90,000. The public works director volunteered to cut that in half to $45,000. That changed. The next year's calculated appropriation to $119,000, and now with this Bobcat coming in sooner, it's $131,000. I only just finished this little quick update page. I said, if I got it done in time, I'd send it out to you, but I only just got it done
Well, what I was looking
an hour before I came here.
Well, I appreciate that you're putting it in the
So-
schedule, because
So I can send that to you.
what we need is numbers to put in the budget that I present to the select board, so, the calculated numbers are in the column. The only change from what John sent out, that I sent out from what John had originally, is the library number should be 24,202 instead of 290,318. And I know someone had said, I think it was you, Scott, you were curious why they weren't using the $30,000. Yeah, they're now proposing to use that toward the vestibule. So they've restructured the funding of that, so.
So the vestibule is like 200, 300,000?
The vestibule is $275,000.
Well, but they don't make plans for you, so how do they know what it costs?
Oh, they've got plans. They've got-
Well, we never approved the money for the architect to draw the plans.
Yeah, we did.
We did, yes, I'm sorry, we've
We
seen the
did.
plans
I think-
though?
No,
No.
there's,
Okay.
there's multiple steps, and we have to see the plans at step 3.
That's right, step 3.
Yes.
I think they're gonna be wanting to make a presentation to you fairly soon.
They can't come next Monday.
They can go next Monday.
There's already too much next Monday, they can't come next Monday.
So then, So when the budget committee meets to put together things, we'll need to make some decisions on what numbers we're gonna use from here. Last year, we stuck pretty closely to what was calculated from the FTP, and then and I plan to do that again this year and let the select board make their own decisions.
Okay.
You guys get to the end of.
Thanks.
Were you able to have a conversation with Mr. Tappan about going to version 1.0?
I have not, I was waiting for Mr. Toppin to
Okay.
get it
So-
adjusted.
As soon as possible, this is my request, I would like a copy of it so I can play with these.
Yep.
So if you can finalize, because we're now at 0 point something, can we go to 1 and that's our official starting off point?
So we're at .08.
Yep.
Indicating it's a draft.
Yep.
And I added some things to it from the meeting tonight. So my suggestion would be, because if it's a 1.0, that means it is a plan. It actually doesn't, I think, it doesn't become a plan until on the 17th, you decide what to put in. You have asked department heads, and when this information was sent out, the department heads were all told that they were to come back to you, to the select board, for a presentation of the FPT on the 17th, and you would be making
Okay.
your decisions about it. So I can send out a draft to you, and you can do whatever you want to
Okay.
it
I'm just,
individually.
okay,
Um,
all right, well, I don't know,
Nope,
I wanna play
that would
with
be
it.
great, thank you.
I wanna
Yeah.
play with it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So this
So
is our
everything-
last meeting of presentations.
yes.
So we have this is the last time we'll see Rebecca and John.
Oh, they can still come.
That's
It's a
okay.
public meeting.
Come on.
We need some independence here.
The only other item was the schedule of insurance. We talked about that a little bit beforehand.
I had basically summarized the number of participants and the number of plans we had and what they cost in the presentation. I
Yeah.
can get you
Did you want a schedule by employee with the names
Yes,
blacked out?
I asked for that last time, so.
okay, I apologize, I didn't get that, but I
Yep,
can.
and we need the liability as well for
Yep.
vacation days and stuff like that, so we can determine, at least I want to determine what needs to be in accrued
Just
benefit.
total accruals and,
So broken out by person, you can black them out if you want. But just in terms of what the overall liability, last time I saw it was 117,000, so it's probably changed by now, but.
yeah, it has. And I don't think it's gotten any worse.
That's good.
The other thing is, why do the subtotals keep disappearing on your sheet?
Oh, for the first line?
Yeah, for FY25 budget, they're gone, and FY26 budget, they're gone at the bottoms of this sub.
I can add them back in.
All right, so don't take them out again. Because it's hard to determine when you're looking at this particular one, well, what's the total for the FY26 budget? You don't know, because it's not,
Yes, I
that's okay,
didn't intend to do it, but I've made a
That's
variety
fine.
of changes to the budget.
that's fine, that's fine. So just put them back. So if you can
I
do
will.
that, that would be great. So if you can send that out email-wise, that would be great when you put them back.
Total back and forth.
Anything else?
Did you want to look at these once? Andy passed them out.
I just passed them out in case you wanted to plug numbers from John's sheet into warrant articles tonight. So
No,
you
we're
have
not
some
gonna do that.
reference, but
Because I don't think,
those are just last year's articles.
it's Steve's intention to make the paving another warrant article this next year?
Yes, he said that when he was during this presentation.
Let's see, is there anything else? Zoning, we don't have any control over. Submission of claims for evaluation. There will be number 18. Except for
Is the library gonna give
what?
Are they gonna have another warrant article? You don't know yet.
They haven't given me any information yet.
Thank you, Jen.
The one that's last year got shot down, the one in, what is it, reevaluation got shot down. That was the only two, right? Yeah.
like to make a motion. Go home.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Rugby, it's yours.
Anything for the rest of us?
No.
No.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I was gonna do it. I was tempted to
We're taking
push it to adjourn. Anybody second it?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
aye.
Aye.